Welcome to the Pyramyd Insider. I'm Tyler Patner. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Diana 350 N-TEC. So as the name suggests, this is the N-TEC gas ram version of the 350, one of Diana's latest offerings. They came out with the 340 a year or two ago, and now they have the 350 version, so the more powerful gas ram. This one here is in 177, so this is going to be a super magnum by all definitions. It also is available in 22, so definitely check that out. Personally, that would be my choice in a gun because it's going to give you really the power that the platform itself can provide. But a 177 is what we have here to test today, so we'll see how she does. So we'll go over some features for you guys. Starting here at the muzzle, we do have a hooded front sight. It does look like it accepts some inserts, although the gun didn't come with multiple inserts. It's just got a standard post in there, and that matches up really nicely with your rear notch sight there. So the open sight's certainly usable if you want to go that route, although again, to see your best accuracy, like we always tell you guys, scope's going to be the way to go. But the rear sight here does have micro click adjustments, and they are very audible actually. You can probably hear them now. So the open sight's a very nice unit if that's the way you want to go. Nice pairing with the gun overall, and there's no fiber optics, and I know a lot of folks like that, and you got that thin post in there. It's actually really quite nice, and actually how I broke the gun in. First 100 shots or so I took with the open sights. The 350 N-TEC has the T06 trigger unit, which means you also have the T06 base rail on it as well, which is an 11mm dovetail rail. Now, we found that our gun had some barrel droop. I would imagine that's probably fairly consistent, seeing as most of the spring versions do. You know, it'd be a fair assumption to say that the gas ram versions are probably going to have a little bit of barrel droop as well. So we went ahead and mounted the DNT06 base from Leapers. It's a very nice unit. Goes from a dovetail to a weaver setup. Nicest thing about it though, it has two stop pin holes, one in the front, one in the back, that match up with the stop pin holes on the rail. So you are good to go. It's going to lock you in nice and tight. Also 4 screws on the side here make it very sturdy. And then on top we went ahead and mounted a Hawk Air Max 30 4-16. It's one of my favorite scopes, so we use it for a lot of the reviews here, and obviously it's held up very well so far on this rifle, so nothing but good things to say in that regard. So as I said, gun has the T06 trigger. Probably the lightest iteration of the T06 that I've ever felt, and a lot of these Dianas that we're getting, these new N-TEC versions, seem to have very, very light triggers from the factory. Personally, I'm a fan. You may not be. I gotta figure this is between a pound, pound and a half, somewhere in that range, but it's really nice to know that the T06 can go down that low safely, as well as be set up higher in that 3-pound range like a lot of the RWS branded guns come. Same trigger unit, but you know, a lot of adjustability in that, so you can fine-tune it for yourself, which I like a lot. And of course, we do have the automatic safety, which is a hallmark of the brake barrels and piston guns in general from Diana. And always you can manually set it, but it does automatically set itself on safe every time you cock the barrel. So that is a nice feature as well in this particular rifle. Easy to flick off with the thumb there when you're ready to go. So for those of you guys that are familiar with the 350, the spring version, probably the biggest departure you're going to notice right away is this stock. So this is the premium version, and you can already tell it's got some different lines to it. Obviously the raised cheek piece, which is totally ambidextrous on both sides. Really like that, and then it rounds out at a nice rubber butt pad here to mitigate some of the recoil, and this one does jump pretty good being a Magnum spring gun. But we also have checkering here on the grip and the forearm. Overall, I actually really like the shape of this, you know, the way it kind of thins out and comes up a little bit, so you can get more of a comfortable hold on it out further away from the base of the rifle, which, you know, a rifle that balances somewhere about middle of the forestock. This is actually quite nice in my opinion, just the overall feel of it. You know, it's got a very comfortable feel to it, but solid. So the 350 N-TEC comes in around 7 pounds unscoped. Once you add the scope, the rail up there, obviously you're going to be right around 9 pounds or so, at least in this case. There are certainly lighter scopes out there if that's the route you want to go. But various options, that's all going to vary on your setup, but this one's coming in right around 9. Overall, nice feel. Got a very solid recoil to it, comes straight back into the shoulder. But you know what? Let's head out to the range. Let's go see how she shoots. All right, so we tested about 15, 16 pellets for this. The H&M Barracudas, and I assume the Barracuda match as well, I just didn't have them on hand to test, and the JSB Heavies were my two best pellets. So at 20 yards starting off with those JSBs, opened up a little bit, but about 3/4 of an inch here. Not a bad group at all, 5/8, 3/4. But a 1/2 inch out of the H&N, certainly much better, and yes, in case you're wondering, that was all me. At 45 yards, the groups actually were not too bad. Had this one, the first shot fly on me there with the JSBs. You know, what are you gonna do? Magnum spring gun like this, really hold sensitive. So that's probably part of it, and then again, you know, there's always the human error in there. But a 5/8 group out of those H&Ns, you can't ask for better than that, to be quite honest with you. So 45 yards, I am very impressed. All right, guys, we're gonna take our most accurate pellet, the H&M Barracudas. I imagine the Barracuda matches will work just as well for those of you that are wondering. And run them across the sound pressure meter here. We got it all set up. We'll take 5 shots and see what our highest reading is. So at 106.3 decibels, probably a little bit too loud for most backyards. Your mileage is gonna vary, obviously. You know, if you have neighbors really close by, this is probably gonna be a bit too loud, but if you have a little bit of property to play with, I think this will do just fine in the yard. All right, guys, you've seen it for yourself. The Diana 350 N-TEC, even in this fast shooting 177, is quite a rifle. Really solid trigger, accuracy out to 45 yards, more than enough for small game hunting, and certainly plenty of power to do it. You know, upwards of 20 foot-pounds in the 177. I'm actually itching to get my hands on a 22 to see what kind of energy that's going to put out. But overall, I am very pleased with this rifle. It's really nice to see another manufacturer coming into the gas ram market with a higher end gas ram gun, and I think the 350 N-TEC certainly hits all those marks. So definitely one that you guys should check out. But for the Pyramyd Insider, I am Tyler Patner. We'll see you guys at the next one.